Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and right now we're going to work on a bracelet that I have designed using the Parisian Couture SoftFlex design kit. Now we just opened this up, so this will be my first thing I'm going to make with it. So let's turn down and I'll show you what I have planned. So we've got the Parisian Couture bead pack out, and I'm going to pull some beads out of here. Oh, I'm going to need that wire from in my bead kit, aren't I? So here is my wire. Then the beads I pulled these things here out of my stash. If you recognize these bead caps, it's because they're leftovers from the Lunar New Year kit. Then I pulled a couple of big spacers, a lobster claw. This is a swivel lobster claw, a large oval jump ring, 2 little triangular spacer beads, and of course we need some crimp tubes. Since these have a lot of gold in them, I decided to go with gold. So the first thing we're going to put, this is going to be our focal, this really pretty bead, which, as I said, I was surprised there was only one of them. Then we're going to go with these big red rondelles on either side. And then one of these bead caps on the rondelles on this side here. This guy wants to be a roly-poly. There we go. Then we're going to use these big, beautiful white opalite bicones. One of these spacers, the black sparklies, another spacer on the other side of him, and of course over here on this side as well. Let's not lose these. Some of our little sparkly disco balls. A white rondelle. These little triangular spacers. And then the black star cut. And that should be plenty long enough for our bracelet. So let's get her some wire cut and get her strung up, and if she ends up being too long, we will, of course, take a couple of beads out. So I like it to be about 7 1/4. That's what my size wrist is, and I think most people have that same. Though I know a lot of people have a smaller wrist. I have a sister that if I make her a 7 1/2 inch bracelet, she tips her arm, it falls off. So she's got a very, very tiny wrist. And I believe Sarah has a tiny wrist too. So anyway, we need about a couple inches more than what we think our bracelet's going to be. We need that because we need it for tucking in the wire and doing the crimping and such. And I don't like to be really tight on my wire when I'm crimping. It's not fun. So I'm going to go probably with 10 inches. This is 10 inches, and that should be sufficient. So 10, this cuts right here. And a lot of times I'll work right off the spool, because let's face it, if you work off the spool, you know you've got enough wire. But since I'm not working off the spool today, I will want to get a bead stopper. These are also from SoftFlex. Now, I've gotten other bead stoppers, but they don't have these little rubber pieces on the ends. They just have the wire that you push in. Rubber end caps. They're really nice. They make sure that the wire doesn't bite into your hand when you're trying to hook these up, and all in all, I just really like them. So let's just get all these things stringing on here. Oop. In the order that we have them placed out here. Now, if you're making a bracelet, you don't have to use all these spacers. I just have a spacer fetish. I don't like not having a spacer. It's just me. Now, I like these colors, and I probably could have put some of the pink in. I just didn't feel like it. But as it is, it sort of reminds me of the Lunar New Year kit with the whites and the blacks and the reds. But I liked that kit, so. Actually, I still have my little Buddha up here. I haven't used him yet. He's sitting here decorating my desk. Okay, there we have our bead strand all stranded up. Let's check and see how long this is now. We probably don't want it to be more than 7 because we're going to add probably at least a ½ inch with our lobster claw and our ring. If it is more than 7, oh, it's right about perfect. Isn't that great? I love it. It is exactly, I should say it's not quite exactly 7, but it's long enough for what we're working on. We're going to, of course, put the lobster claw and the crimp the oval jump ring in place, and that closure will add the extra length we need. So let's put this back down on the mat and get started on that. Now see, it's going to be, isn't that going to be pretty? Now it might end up being a little tight for me. As you can see, with the bigger beads, it takes more space with bigger beads to make even though it measures out at 7, it's probably not once you bring it around, because the bigger beads fills in space. The wire, as you can see, the wire's in the middle here, and then we've got this much extra space inside the bracelet, making it be smaller than it is. Here, I'll show you what I mean exactly. See, on the ruler, it's 7 right here, but if you pull it around, as you can see, there's a good, probably close to 2 inches right there. Not quite, but about 1 3/4. So we could actually add another bead if we chose to, and it wouldn't be too big. So that is the question. Do we want to add another bead on here so that we have that extra little bit of length for anybody who has the arm of that length? But I'll have black. I don't want to put black in. I'd really like, maybe I will just put these little diamond shaped ones, 2 of those on the ends to add that extra bit of length. Let's see how that looks. So now that I've added that little extra gold one, if I put it around my arm, you can see it's much closer to coming together. Unlike when I didn't have those on there. And it might still be a little bit too short for me once we finish it, but let's finish it so we can see where we're at, so we can really take a look at it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself some more room over here, because when we do this, we're going to actually just do it right here on the end, and then we'll have extra space after it's done. So we'll put the crimp tube on and the lobster claw. Bring our wires up to how tight we want them. We don't want it too tight because we want some movement here. So this is a swivel lobster that I've chosen to put on here, and it will move around all on its own, so it's not so bad. Now I'm using the magical crimpers. These are 2x2 crimps, and I'm going to put the crimp right in that little divot that I just showed you and push down. And then we make this little square shape, turn it over, put it in again, and squish. And we keep doing that till we've got it so that our crimpers will not squish down anymore. And it makes this little round bead here. And then we do a tug test. It's good. So we're going to slide these beads up onto the wire on this side. And then we'll get the crimp and the jump ring onto this side. Now you could just do the crimp and not bother with the jump ring right now, because let's face it, you could open the jump ring up and put it in. And if you didn't want to use a jump ring, you could always just make a loop of SoftFlex wire and not bother with the jump ring. Now this SoftFlex wire is pretty strong. I've never had a problem with it breaking on me or anything like that. So once we have it done, keep it sort of curled up as you tighten these things up, because you don't want your bracelet to be so tight that you don't have any movement in it. So now that we've got that all tightened up, we can crimp this right here at the end. Now again, you want to make sure your crimp is in your divot of your crimping pliers, and then squish. All the way around till it stops squishing. Do our tug test. It's good. So we're going to trim this extra little bit of wire off here. And our bracelet is finished. Hook this up here. And there we go, all done. Isn't that pretty? So let's get our bracelet sizer out and see how big it actually ended up being. And as you can see, it's about exactly 7.5, just about where I wanted it at. And if I had not put those last 2 gold beads on, it probably would have been about 7. So I'm not going to clip it too hard to clip on your own, but as you can see, it would come together right there, and I'd have just a little bit of leeway in it for my arm. Isn't that pretty? So there is our bracelet, and I really like that. I think it turned out really well, even if I did borrow a few little things from Lunar New Year. So there's what's left from my my bead pack. I didn't use any of the other things, so everything is left. So other than, you know. So all the beads, most of the wire, the charms that are in here, all ready to be used in something else. Now you could put a little charm on here. That would be really cute. I'm not sure what I would want to put on here as a charm though, since I did use the little gold beads here. Suppose I could put a rose on there, but I think I'll leave those alone and save them for something else. So there's our bracelet. Okay, there's our pretty little bracelet. Isn't that pretty? Using our SoftFlex design kit, Parisian Couture. I really like it. I think it turned out nicely. And I hope you do too. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.